Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the Orly Aqua Aura collection for spring 2024. What year is it? 2024. There are 6 polishes here all together. I will link the Orly website down below where you guys can check these out. I also will have some comparisons at the end of the video. They're not going to be too extensive. I destashed my Orly collection a while back before I started doing comparisons, and I unfortunately destashed pretty much everything that I had that was really shimmery, which a lot of these are, so that's going to negatively impact my ability to do comparisons for Orly's. 6 polishes all together, and now we'll get into the swatches.
So the first polish is called Sea Spray, and this is described as a white copper shimmer with a golden glow. Great formula on this one, a little bit sheer, but still pretty even. You can see that copper shimmer standing out really nicely. It built up fairly well in 2 coats, but I still had some flaws, and I really wanted to see if I could get the nail line covered on this one, so I ended up doing 3 coats. It covered most of those uneven spots in 3 coats, but I had to really make sure that my previous 2 coats were fully dry, so I didn't dig into them and create more streaks. So it was okay in 3 coats. It did take a little bit of extra work. The shimmer also does not show as strong on camera as it was in person. So that is 3 coats of Sea Spray. The next polish is called Sea Blossom, and this is described as a cool light pink cream. Good formula on this one. It covers pretty well, levels itself out really nicely, and covers fairly evenly, just a few uneven spots. This covered really well for me in 2 coats. It covered easily in 2 coats. I had no gaps or streaks or uneven spots, and it leveled itself out really nicely. So that is 2 coats of Sea Blossom. The next polish is called Wistful Water Lily, and this is described as a light pink pearl shimmer. Great formula on this one, really strong shimmer to it. It's not really pearl-like to me at all, because when I think pearl, I think brush strokes, and there's really hardly any brush strokes once it's fully dry. There's hardly any when it's wet, but they melt in really nicely as it dries. This covered really well for me in 2 coats, a little tiny bit of nail line that I could pick out if I really looked for it, but it was definitely not enough for me to worry about a 3rd coat. So that is 2 coats of Wistful Water Lily. The next polish is called Golden Waves, and this is described as a golden copper shimmer. Great formula on this one, much better coverage than I was expecting. I thought it would be really sheer, really strong shimmer as well. I mentioned in the last polish that it had hardly any brush strokes. This has like no brush strokes through the shimmer. It's completely smooth. This covered easily for me in 2 coats, and it's not my favorite color in terms of what I would actually wear, but the shimmer and the lack of brush strokes and the formula in this is phenomenal. So that is 2 coats of Golden Waves. The next polish is called Morning Dew, and this is just described as a teal shimmer. Good formula on this one, good coverage. It's fairly even. The shimmer stands out really nicely, but it's less of a contrasting shimmer, so you can definitely see that blue shimmer up against the like aqua kind of color, but it's a little more of like a glowy, subtle shimmer. This covered completely for me in 2 coats. I had a little tiny bit of nail line if I really looked for it, but it was not enough for me to worry about a 3rd coat, and the shimmer stood out much better after it was fully dry. So that is 2 coats of Morning Dew. And the last polish is called Ripple Effect, and this is described as a periwinkle shimmer. This has a good formula. It's very opaque because it is in a very creamy base. That creamy base does make the shimmer much more subtle in this one. You can still pick it out if you look for it, but it is not a very obvious shimmer at all. This did cover completely for me in 2 coats with no nail line, no flaws. And it did dry just a little bit darker than when it was wet. So that is 2 coats of Ripple Effect. So starting out with Sea Spray here in the middle, this one is beautifully bizarre. This has a kind of a greeny blue shimmer to it, and it's a very, very light pale pink. And then this one is ephemeral. This is a much chunkier, more sparkly, broken up kind of shimmer polish, kind of bordering on a glitter, but without the texture, with a really strong gold shimmer to it. I have 2 sections here for Sea Blossom. The first one is Taffy to Be Here. This is a little bit brighter and more like vibrant and I guess hotter of a pink. This one is Provence at Dusk. This is almost equally muted, but it's a purple versus a, what is the term for something that's like purpley pink? I don't want to say fuchsia because I feel like fuchsia is brighter. It might be fuchsia. I don't know. Orchid is what I want to say, but I don't think that's the color. I don't know why I think of orchid. Anyway, this leans more pink when next to Provence at Dusk. You guys, we don't have to wrestle in here. I just need like 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes. These cats are more difficult than my toddler, like for sure. Okay, this is Kaleidoscope Eyes. It's along the same lines where it's like that slightly purpley pink, but it's much, much brighter. Doesn't have that muted quality to it. If you hear all the noise, I'm sorry, the cat tree is right behind me and apparently we decided we're just gonna wrestle. Poor Cricket's at the top, not involved at all, but like the whole cat tree is shaking and she's just along for the ride. And the last one on this side is Scenic Route. This is also kind of that dusty, slightly purple shade, but it's much deeper. This one here is Wink Wink. This is a brighter and more pink shade and also almost leaning a little neon pastel. It doesn't have like any muted property to it at all. This is November Fog. This is kind of a grayish purple, again darker. And then this one is TLC, which is actually kind of close to Scenic Route. Oh, my nails are really chipped, don't look. Okay, TLC, Scenic Route, but again darker, more purple, not super comparable. For Wistful Water Lily here, this one is Can't Jet Enough. This is kind of similar to Ephemeral, where it is a more broken up, bordering on glitter kind of shimmer. It has a pink shimmer to it. It does look very pink in the bottle, which is why I grabbed it, but on the nail it looks very like silvery white with a pink shimmer, so nothing close there. For Ripple Effect, I have Lost Treasure. So Lost Treasure is a very pearly kind of steel blue, where Ripple Effect is very, very creamy. It does have that like slightly pink shimmer to it, but it's very, very hard to pick out. So nothing comparable here either. It's also a brighter shade. For Golden Waves, I have a lot more than I thought. I had really ruthlessly destashed my Orly polishes a couple years back, and I thought I got rid of a lot of these like bronzier, frostier shades, and I think I got rid of mostly like nude frosty shades because I had a lot more here than I thought I would. So this one is Light My Campfire. I do really like this one. This is a very metallic kind of chrome-like bright orange, so nothing close there because Golden Waves is a much more subtle muted shade and has a stronger shimmer. This one is Dynamism. This is very, very purple, not comparable. This is Touch of Magic. This again is that really broken up, sparkly, bordering on glitter look kind of shimmer. Touch of Magic is like the more fabulous cousin to Golden Waves. This one is Valley of Fire. This again is much more orange and deeper. And then this one is Perseverance, also like a burnt kind of brick red, a really deep brick red, nothing comparable there. And then for Morning Dew, I have Urban Landscape here, which is very, very green in comparison, has a much more broken up and much stronger green shimmer to it. This is Glass Half Full. This is much more blue, where Morning Dew, it looks very green next door. And then this is Serves You Right. This is again like a cousin to Morning Dew. It's a bit more shimmery, stronger shimmer, kind of along the same lines color-wise, maybe a little bit more blue, and obviously it's not going to be as opaque because Morning Dew was a little creamier, so it had more opacity to it, so nothing close here. So Morning Dew is my favorite out of this bunch. I really like the blue shimmer that's in this. Ooh. Shh. I'm very hungry. I find that it's one of those shimmers that's very, very glowy. It's not like a super contrasting shimmer. It's not blinding in your face. It will show up really nicely when the sun shines, but overall it's kind of subtle and just gives the polish a nice little subtle glow from underneath. And normally I'm big on like a contrasting shimmer, give me something that's gonna like blind me indoors and out, but I really like how these two colors came together. The more teal kind of aqua shade and that blue shimmer. This one stood out to me. So that is the Orly Aqua Aura collection for spring 2024. Again, I will link the Orly website down below where you guys can check those out. Hope you enjoyed this one and I will talk to you later. Bye.